Hey guys, this is JonTaun from Brohammer, and today I will be bringing you the second round of Shetland Apache's King's Cup tournament. Alright, so for my second round, it turns out that I am fighting a Chaos player again. So today I'll be fighting M as a Chaos. So let's go over army compositions. I have got up here Malekith on his dragon here, and I've got the standard spells I bring on him. Gaze of Malice, of course, Soul Stealer, Chillwind, and Power of Darkness. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Dread Spears in the front line. I've got 4 Hargoneth Executioners. A Dark Rider with shields, 1 Witch Elf, and 2 Dark Shards. Over here in the woods, I have another Dark Rider. Alright, and so my plan for this one is, you notice I didn't bring any Hargoneth Executioners, and you're probably thinking, well, Shaggus, JonTaun. Okay, so I have plenty of armor piercing and anti-large in this army, and I have it in the way of Dark Shards and Dread Spears. So I figure, you know what's more scary than the Shaggus? If they bring a lot of, Chaos Warriors with great weapons. So I decided for this one I'd switch it up and go 4 Hargoneth Executioners instead of 2 Hargoneth Executioners and 2 Blackguard and Nagalon. Alright, so for my opponent, he has decided to go with a very wide army. He's got some Chaos Marauders over here. Chaos Marauders with great weapons, Aspiring Champions, Chaos Sorcerer of Death on foot, more Marauders, more Great Weapon Marauders. There's another one. More Marauders, another great weapon with Marauders, so very Marauder army. And here's some more over here. And it looks like he's got 3 Aspiring Champions in total. Okay. He's also brought 3 groups of Trolls, so he's kind of going like a campaign army that the AI likes to bring. Lots of Trolls and lots of Marauders. But for his lord, he's got Kholek Suneater, who is a very good duelist, and if he gets Malekith on the ground in 1v1, will probably destroy him. Besides that, he's got 3 Marauder horsemen. Alright, let's do it. So, seeing that I have the high ground, and he has nothing to force me off, I'm just going to take my position on this slope here, and wait for him to advance on me. So let's speed up a little bit here. And I'm going to go over his army, and I always like to get Gaze of Malice off, and Chillwinds off on these lowly armored units. I don't find it very useful to use it on high armor units. So I'm going to send my Dread Spears up in the front. They will lose to these Chaos Marauders, I believe, especially with all the support they have. But the thing that they're there for is to hold, and they will indeed hold. So he's going to bring Kholek right in the middle here, and I'm immediately going to get my Dark Shards with repeater crossbows shooting at this guy. So we both left something behind, actually. I left these Witch Elves behind, which is really bad on me. If they were right here, they would have been able to do a lot of damage. I get a breath attack on these guys right here, just wrecking them. I'm going to try to terrify these Trolls off as they have low morale, and get them off the field quite quick. And as you can see, we do need to get them off the field. So he drops a Fate of Bune on these Hargoneth Executioners, which is a really good idea. And that's going to do a lot of damage to them, but we are breaking through the middle here. So I'm going to try to get these Witch Elves on him, but they're not path onto him right now, and I'm not microing them, so they're going to get held up over here. So, like how he used Malekith over here to break the center line, he's going to use Kholek over here to break the side. I'm just having these Dark Riders doing some hit and runs on the side. They're not doing too much though. Since Kholek is out of my range right now, I'm going to be shooting at these Trolls, and Trolls have 40 armor, so, you know, for some reason I thought these were the armored Trolls, but they're not. I get another Dragon Breath over here, which is going to rout off these Trolls and just break this right flank. So I've won the right flank, and I am winning the center. He has won the left flank though. But as you see, I see he's bringing Kholek out over here, so I immediately bring my Witch Elves into the back line. He's going to see that, and I believe he's going to retreat, yeah. But I do get my Dark Shards to get a few volleys into him before he goes. As you see, I got Malekith going around, and I'm going to, if he gets pinned down over here, I'm going to have Malekith come engage in melee. But he does not, so I'm going to pop some more spells and Gaze of Malice on these guys over here to do a lot of damage to these lightly armored units. And these Trolls, honestly, are doing really good. I'm surprised they're still in the fight, being that how much is routing. These guys were chasing these guys and overspinning, so I'm going to pull them back, because I don't want them to get picked apart by these Marauder Horsemen. And I'm just going to send Malekith in the center here, hoping to rout off these Trolls. They are doing absolutely fantastic against these Hargoneth Executioners. So I'm just going around doing hit and runs with my Dark Riders over here. He sends Kholek after him, but that's kind of a waste of both of our times. I'm going to send these guys around the side, and I'm just going to try to use these guys to pick off routing units to make sure they don't come back. So, Kholek is in range of my units again, so I'm going to start shooting at him with the Dark Shards. He does use a fitted unit on my Witch Elves, effectively taking them off the field. And he's also got some Chaos Marauders back here who did get into my backline. So I'm going to send some Hargoneth Executioners after them, and they should make short work of those guys. Also going to pull my Dark Shards up here so that they don't keep on getting killed. I see he's got huge blob right here, so I said that's a perfect opportunity for a Soul Stealer. And I'm also kind of hoping to draw in Kholek to get some good Dark Shard fire on him. But as you can see, the Soul Stealer here did absolutely fantastic along with the Fear and Terror. Just so much damage coming in. These Hargoneth Executioners are cleaning up these Chaos Marauders. He does have a lot of units coming back, but so do I. These Dark Riders over here were chasing somebody off the field, and these guys were chasing some guys off the field as well, but got intercepted by these trolls. So I'm going to go send Malekith back here to clean up some of these pockets to try to terrify these guys off. Because it's very important to use terror against armies like this. I have fought Chaos armies like this with the Dark Elves and have lost before, actually. So seeing these guys exposed here, I do a rear charge on them, hoping to rout them off. And as you can see, it does rout one of them off. And these guys actually don't have the most terrible stats, 24 and 28, that's not great. But neither do these Chaos Marauders with great weapons. They are better than these guys though. But the rear charge from these Hargoneth Executioners are going to fish them off, and that flank is going to be gone. Now seeing these Dark Riders and these guys, hoping to hurt the morale, but their morale is still at 100%. So I was able to get Malekith on his Chaos Sorcerer of Death here. And at this point, his army is super tattered. I mean, mine is too, but my units just have a lot higher morale, so they stay a lot longer. So here comes Kholek Suneater. I immediately take off, but then I'm like, this might be a good opportunity to get Kholek Suneater down. But Kholek is fast on foot, so he's just gonna waddle on out of there. But every time he retreats, he's just taking Dark Shard fire. But I like what he's doing here. He's going over here to support his Chaos Sorcerer of Death, hoping to get him back so that he can have magic. So I'm gonna send these Dark Riders just to run down units. These guys, I don't think they're shattered yet. No, I don't think it's shattered yet, but he is going to be regrouping in the woods over here. And seeing that, I am likewise going to be regrouping very soon. So he is going to have enough for another Fate of Buna, actually, which is really good, because that's a very healthy group of Hargoneth Executioners. And he sends Kholek Suneater here, but says, oh, Dark Shards, better get out of there. Worthy to note, Kholek does have a 25% resistance to missile fire. But these guys, I know I can't catch them, so I'm just going to have my spears try to screen them out, and I really need to protect my Dark Shards here. So, Kholek is really weak, but at this point, I think I probably have it, because Malekith is at full health right now. So I do come in on a Sorcerer. I'm like, well, if Kholek comes in, I have enough health to tank him, while my Dark Shards do enough damage to take him out. So here comes some Trolls, and I'm going to intercept them with some Spears and some Hargoneth Executioners. And I do rout off this Chaos Sorcerer of Death, and at this point, Army Losses kicks in, and his entire army routs. So that was a much closer game than in the first round. Let's look at the in-battle screen here. So Malekith there with 149 kills. Again, the Dread Spears, I love them. They have 42 melee defense, and they just hold forever. Witch Elves didn't get... I wasn't able to get him on Kholek. He did a really good job at keeping Kholek away from those Witch Elves. And I've been noticing that a lot in this tournament. If you can keep your important units away from like Witch Elves, you're pretty much golden. But in the front line here, you can see these Hargoneth Executioners absolutely slaughtered all his Marauders. They did take a ton of damage from those Trolls though. Monstrous Infantry in general in Warhammer 2 seem to do so much damage on the charge. I've seen Rat Ogres take down half a unit's health of like Blackheart Corsairs or even like Hargoneth Executioners on just the charge. It's insane. You cannot let them get charged by Monstrous Infantry, especially like Minotaurs. So my Dark Shards over here didn't get many kills, but they didn't need to. They were firing at Trolls the whole match, and they were also firing at Kholek. So they did a lot of damage to him, and as you can see, Kholek didn't really even get to fight anybody, because he was being zoned out by these Dark Shards the entire match. These Dark Riders, they didn't get tons of kills, but they kept units off the field, and that's very valuable, especially against an army like this. So as you can see, his Chaos Marauders actually did better than his Chaos Marauders with great weapons. But that's probably because of the Spears, and these guys probably weren't able to get through the melee defense of the Hargoneth Executioners, especially when Martial or Murder Prowess is up. So his His Aspiring Champions also did very well. His Marauder Horsemen did okay. He forgot about them, as I forgot about my Witch Elves, but he forgot about them a little bit longer than I forgot my Witch Elves. So, as you can see, the Chaos Trolls also did fairly well. I mean, they didn't get a ton of kills, but remember, most of these kills are on, like, Hargoneth Executioners. So that's all pretty good. And his Death Sorcerer, he got a lot of value out of this Death Sorcerer. He got, like, 2 or 3 Fate Abinos off on these Hargoneth Executioners. And that was really, really good. But that was a great game to my opponent, and let's move on to round 2. So let's go ahead and load that up. Alright, so I'm going to bringing Malekith again. I think I got him on Dragon. And I got a very similar army here. But instead of the Dark Riders and 4 Hargoneth Executioners, I decided to bring, and the Dark Swords, I decided to bring Cold One Knights instead, 2 Witch Elves, and 1 Blackguard Nagaron. But I still do have 3 Hargoneth Executioners. Alright, so, yeah. This time I had the same idea, figuring as the round 1. I thought maybe he'll go in the air this time, so I better put Malekith on foot. And I have more Witch Elves this time, and I have some Cold One Knights to be able to block up large units like Kholek. So I'm okay with putting him on foot, because I have the correct support for it. Alright, so let's look at his army again. He's going very wide again. And it looks like he's pretty much got the same army. Interesting. So, he's probably used this army a lot in ladder and always had good success with it. Sorry about that. Oh, man. Okay, sorry about that, guys. Anyway. And so he's probably thinking that he can get away with it again, especially if I bring a different army. Because it was pretty close last match, but I did bring a different army this time. So let's see if this build does better or worse against it. Alright, so I'm going to speed up here as we both advance. I'm sending some Cold One Knights around the flank in the woods. And of course I'm trying to zone these guys out with Malekith here, because he's not going to take all that much damage from him, just because he's such a small target. I'm gonna try to get a Gaze of Malice off on these guys soon. And I'm just kinda, he's so spread out, I'm like, let's overload one flank, and let's try not to get outflanked. So the battle has begun. So, just charging straight up here, and he sends Kholek straight in for Malekith. So immediately, I'm gonna respond with my Cold One Knights and my Witch Elves, but very wisely, he pulls through his lines. So that's the great thing about big units, and that's one of the reasons that the Lizard Men are so great. They can just pull through their own lines because they just have insane mass. So I have these guys in reserve just waiting for all these guys to catch up. And in the meantime, I'm overwhelming this pocket right here in the center. I do send these Cold One Knights on to Kholek, and they are doing quite a bit of damage, but I soon realized that this probably wasn't the best idea because Kholek is so very strong. Now these Cold One Knights are all out on their own, and I can't get through this front line fast enough to get to them. But that being said, they are doing a lot of damage to Kholek. They're getting them down to half health, but they do get wrecked by these trolls and Kholek in combination. So I'm going to pull out my Witch Elves and try to get them around the flank here, as well as Malekith. And as you see, it's just a giant mosh pit in the middle here. And my Cold One Knights did rampage, so I'm not going to be able to pick them out. So I decided just to send these Witch Elves in here, and have these Cold One Knights are rampaging and do come back. But I figure, let's see if we can destroy these trolls really fast. But this time, I do not have the terror, so his trolls are going to perform a lot better. As you can see, he's not really able to get around my flank too much since I had these guys in reserve, but these trolls are fighting Hargoneth Executioners, and you can see these Hargoneth Executioners are getting dumpstered. They are doing a lot of damage in return, though, to his infantry, however. So, my plan is not going as well here as I wanted it to. These trolls are holding out for quite a long time, but then I get these Blackguard and Nagaron on the side here, and that's going to break the morale and as well do a lot of damage to him. So, now that we've broken this left flank, we're just going to try to move in and collapse on this flank over here. He's got Kholek in here, and I didn't even notice this, but he actually sent him in on Witch Elves. So he is, he's rampage right now. So I'm going to send some more Witch Elves and try to get Malekith in here, as well as some Dread Spears. As you can see, he is no longer rampage, and he's going after Malekith. But he's already at half health, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. Drops a Fate Abino on these Hargoneth Executioners, really good call. I wonder if he brought Spirit Leech. He did, but he doesn't seem to be using it very much. But as you can see, even with Kholek Suneater at half health, he is such a great melee combatant that Malekith really isn't able to do much damage to him. Drop a really good Soul Stealer right here on this blob, and that's going to do a lot of damage. So these Spearmen and these Rampaging Cold One Knights kind of keep on cleaning anything that's over on this flank still. And I'm trying to move these Hargoneth Executioners up and around to surround Kholek over here. As you can see, his infantry is breaking off now that Kholek's morale is dropping, and we have good surround on him. And Kholek is going down, so it's looking very bad for my opponent right now. Sending Kholek in on those Witch Elves was a huge mistake on his part. But Kholek is going to get out of there, but my enemy decides that's all and concedes. Alright, let's look at that in battle screen here. So, Malekith did pretty good. Again, Dreadspear's a fantastic unit for just holding the line. And I like him more than like the Spearmen of the High Elves, because once the Spearmen of the High Elves lose their martial prowess, their melee defense goes way down. I think it's 50 with it up. I mean, it's close to these Dreadspears, but these Dreadspears are also cheaper and are more consistent throughout the battle. So I like the Murderous Prowess mechanic. It's just a straight buff, but the martial prowess mechanic of the High Elves is kind of a debuff in late game. So I think that that mechanic probably needs to be changed for the High Elves. And Dark Elves in general might definitely need a nerf. So my Hargoneth Executioners performed fairly well. I mean, 1200 spin here, and none of them even got 100 kills. I guess you can say that's not great, but they held out forever with the support of those Dreadspears. I really like the performance of my Cold One Knights. They did rampage in the front line, but they were fighting trolls, so they did some good damage to those guys. Hargoneth Executioners did really great at collapsing on those trolls and making them rout. And the Witch Elves, they got a good number of kills, even though their main purpose is to lock down enemy units. So I can see he brought the same army. I don't know if I suggest you ever do that. I mean, I guess it can completely throw off your opponent, because he's probably going to think you're going to bring something else. Yeah, I mean, if you find something that works, I guess keep on using it, and you'll see later in this tournament, annoyingly, that once someone finds something that works and just almost cannot be beat, they'll just keep on using it. I guess it makes sense in a tournament setting, but it's not very fun. In any case, a good game to MMM here. I very much enjoyed playing you, and you played very well. And that's going to be all for this one, guys. It's JonTaun for Total Brohammer signing off.